Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles D&D, episode 31, I believe it is at the moment. Am I right? Maybe? You've all gone very quiet on me.
I have.
I'm sorry. Yes, it is the 31st.
Yeah! I am the GM, ArticulateT, and with me today, joining us for this particular episode, much like all the other episodes, I have Hikan Sio being played by Alvarance.
Hello.
I have Renji, Heir of Nihilus, being played by TheNetherlad.
And good evening to everyone here.
I have Ziden Shari being played by RoboPirate.
Hello.
And I have Max being played by Keastreth.
Hi.
So, my dear friends, what happened on the previous episode of Hyrule Chronicles?
So we made it back to town, and it was pretty much just kind of an easy roleplay session. We went to go take care of a couple of things, and Tyrina was feeling kind of so she's like, yeah, no, we'll just go. I'll go get a room over at this place, and we knew where it was because we've been there before. It was the Royal Hylian Inn, if I remember correctly, because the map's not up. So, and I'm really bad at taking notes. But it was the she went over to the inn, and the party took care of a couple of things. And getting all gussied up for getting close to it and the rest. When we came back and had a bit of a chat to see if Tyrina wanted to come with us after taking care of our horses, she seemed a bit off, and she and Hikan had a heart-to-heart where, he does his thing where it's like, yeah, I'm totally just got my shit together and I'm not making it up as I go along. And they had their heart to heart, and then everyone went clothes shopping because Renji was like, yeah, I totally got a tailor, guys. Let's go to the Royal Tailor. And we got clothes, and then everyone kind of did some evening things, and Hikan literally ran around Hyrule trying to find something for Tyrina. And when he went to go give it to her, she didn't answer the door, and he's like, okay, I'll see her in the morning. And then everyone went to sleep and did the things, and I forgot to mention the Max thing, that Max opened up about his past a little bit, which, everyone was like, yay, except, well, not really yay, but kind of like, thank you for being open with us, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate you, Max. You're an A+ member of the team. And yeah, there was a map and some draconic writing on it because that's what Max writes in. I think that's about it. Not in order, definitely not in order, but that's about it.
Excellent. And so it is that we rejoin our party, having only just awoken once again downstairs in the Royal Hylian Inn's kind of eating area, and you have just been informed that Tyrina has already left.
Already?
Well, that's...
Yes, she left about an hour ago.
And she didn't tell you?
She didn't tell anybody. We were sitting here waiting for her, and then when we went over to the barkeep, he was like, "Yeah, she just went." And
I was
she
asleep.
was kind of...
Didn't hear anything.
I mean, to be fair, Gerudo can be really sneaky.
Yeah, but still, I had expected something. Not this.
Well, I understand that she might need to take care of some things that she needs to take care of, but she's not getting away without saying goodbye. Ziden, can you find her?
Well, I shall use locate object to find her axe.
Okay. Let's see. yeah, I'd say that's probably close enough. 1,000 feet is quite a distance, and the castle town isn't exactly like, it's big, but it's not. Yeah, you could probably get a fairly decent circumference on that spell. So as you cast your spell and you focus in on Tyrina's axe, you get a pull in the direction to the south of town, towards the southern gate.
Ziden will quickly nod to Hikan and point before leading the way.
I definitely follow him too.
I'm going to track her down.
Okay. So.
Hikan tempers his speed.
Hey, I mean, I've got this permanently. If you want to go fast, I could turn into a wolf.
But then we leave everyone else behind.
Yeah, we can catch up.
Do we want to give her the chance to get away?
No.
Alright then, what's my fastest form? Probably this. But what?
Bear in mind you're going to be in the city.
Yeah, turning into...
Be a horse.
giant...
Horse are fast.
Horses are fast. Okay, Ziden will turn into a warhorse then. That has a speed of 60 feet.
Okay.
Oh, all right then. You're a warhorse. So you two on the horse. Given that Ziden probably doesn't have a saddle, you know, like Hikan will lace his fingers.
I
Well,
don't think that'll make him faster.
I've ridden Ziden as a bear once, so you know. I'm sure I
Ziden
can
just
manage.
shrugs and gives them all a look of like, hurry up!
I'm a decent
so.
rider though. I wouldn't mind, but it's just really what we're going to do.
Up.
All right.
Tyrina's trying to get away. You can't let her.
You mean nay, Winnie?
No, I have telepathy.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
The most slapstick chase I've ever encountered. And it hasn't even properly started yet.
Okay, we'll go after her now together.
Okay.
Yes.
So
We will.
the
We
four
do this.
the four of you at full pelt just run straight through the square. It's still early morning, so it's not as busy, and people are easy to, like, they're fairly quick to move aside as this horse and its two riders pelt past alongside their very quickly sprinting companion, and eventually you do manage to find yourself at the southern gate, where you see among the people kind of coming in and leaving in the morning, you see Tyrina standing next to a horse, and she's talking to one of the stable masters. She's just put some kind of coinage in his hands, and he nods and then turns away. And she's just about to get back onto that horse.
Awesome. Let me double read something real, because is
The
it
moment-
kind of like a big
Yep.
group of people that are moving in and out kind of thing?
Not terribly. Like, it's, say, a rough estimate places it as 7 people that are currently going through the gate at the moment.
All right then. Then never mind. I was gonna be like, cool. It's like drunken stuff that I could just sway through the crowd, but no, it's not that much big of a crowd. So scratch that.
The moment we get into earshot of Tyrina, I shout, Tyrina, you're making a mistake.
As you shout that, she stops. Like, as she's just about to pull herself onto the horse, she stops and looks over, and you can see her kind of posture sort of drop slightly, and she like lets go of the saddle and turns to you guys and folds her arms as you arrive.
I quickly get off the Ziden, and I make up the last bit of distance on foot.
I'll follow suit.
Tyrina, why didn't you say anything?
She doesn't really make eye contact as she contemplates what she's about to say, but... Well, I'm not terribly good at goodbyes. And...
You idiot, no one is. But... we didn't even know you wanted to leave. Do you need to head back to your own people? Is this something that we can help with?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to leave, but the adult in me says that I probably should. And it's not anything that any of you have done, and it's not that my people are in danger or anything like that. But...
Well, tell your adult to be responsible for their friends.
I am. Which is why I have to go. Look.
Right, without any form of, like, telling us or making sure that we want to help you. You're a friend. And I put I want to grab her shoulders, but the moment just before I do that, I kind of relent and just put one hand on her shoulder gently. Look, with Simeon gone, that vision in the cave and the Artemark dungeon, I owe you so much.
We all do.
We all owe you so much.
She continues not to really look at any of you.
If you don't want to say goodbye, then at least let us say it.
With everything that's happened, I want to forgive you for leaving, but I would rather just have a proper goodbye.
And she kind of closes her eyes and looks down. She smiles slightly and says, "There are few people in this world who I believe deserve friends like you, all of you, and god damn it, am I not one of them. But yeah, the past few days and this whole experience has been rough. It really has, and all it's reminded me of is that I still have so much I need to learn, and if I'm gonna be doing anything right by any of you, then I need to go back and maybe get a refresher on exactly what I can do as a paladin, you know? I mean, I can't say in any capacity that the whole vision thing, I mean, I know it was a vision, but it felt so real, and I don't know at this point in time as to whether or not I should still be around. I've always been told that things that die should stay dead. And I certainly feel like I died, so why am I here? I can't continue helping you guys until I manage to get that sorted, you know?
I mean, there was this one time that I had a really bad nightmare that I was falling out of a temple and I fell and I hit the ground and I thought I had died then, but I didn't die.
With Tyrina saying all this and Hikan jumping in, Renji is going to head into the stables and probably, as a noble would, demand that that he get, like, that there is a table that he can just use for a moment, and he's going to write something on the sheet of paper, parchment that he has.
Okay. The stable master at that point for them it is too early in the morning to argue, so they're just like, yeah, there's a table over there, why not? And just kind of points to a nearby table.
Yeah. I quickly start pulling my my parchment out and my writing set and start scribbling this letter.
Okay. As you scribble, Tyrina just says, "Look, I'm sorry for just disappearing, and I know I should at the very least say goodbye properly, but it took me a whole day to say goodbye to my sisters, and I'm not exactly sure I can do the same here. I kind of have to tear the stitches out, in a sense, as opposed to just letting it fester."
I get it.
And she takes the coin pouch that she's had, and says, I have plenty of supplies left, and I'm honestly not going to be using this for much, so... And she tosses it in Ziden's direction. It's like an underhand whoop. Is Ziden still a horse, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Do you try and catch it with your teeth?
Ziden has been a druid long enough that he just sort of doesn't really see much difference in being an animal compared to human, even for dramatic emotional encounters.
That's fair.
And now he has telepathy, so he can join in.
Yeah.
I mean, if Ziden's just kind of looking at it as it like almost collides with his face, Hikan will try to catch it and then like tie it or like set it on Ziden's back.
Okay.
I know that you said that you have a lot of supplies, but Ziden's pretty good about keeping us up with things, and I know that it's a decent trek wherever you're going. So, Hikan ruffles through his pack and pulls out his 7 remaining rations, because we didn't know Ziden the whole time, and gives Tyrina the rations.
Okay.
Yes. And,
Hikan's
After-
going to eat so many good berries.
I know. And after she puts them away, Hikan just gives her another big hug like he did yesterday for him.
Just returns a hug very tightly. Considering she's wearing the gauntlets, yes. But it's like, just gives you a hug and then pats her on the back of the head. It's like, now I'm trusting you specifically to keep these idiots alive, okay?
I'll do my best. And in Gerudo, this is specifically said in Gerudo, it is like, if you find anything, you can always write. Just remember to use small words, because I'm not good at reading.
At that moment, Renji comes back holding this rolled up piece of parchment, tied up in a bit of a string. Says, "Hikan, we don't listen to her. We are not idiots." And
Oh no, I think he's right. I'm kind of an idiot.
well, fair enough. I'm not. I hand this rolled up piece of parchment, this letter, to Tyrina, and I say, "This is not a final goodbye. I will see you later. If we're not in Castletown, that should get you a proper stay here within the city." And basically what I've given her is a letter that is signed and has my Sheikah signet ring in ink, because I don't have wax, like sealing wax here. That basically says whoever, like the bearer of this is Tyrina, exalted paladin of Etheria, and the bearer of this document should be given all courtesy within the city and within Hyrule Castle.
Thank you.
Signed, Renji, heir of Vox, heir of Nihilus Vox.
Thank you.
Of course.
When I certainly feel comfortable with my skill and place in the world, I'll definitely be putting this to use. And she then pulls you into a hug.
I haven't stopped.
It's a group hug!
Ziden will hug.
He will nuzzle.
Max just kind of awkwardly pats Tyrina's arm. Like, I'm not doing the hug.
A quick Sheikah arm bursts
Nope.
out.
No,
grabs
no, no.
Max by the waist,
No.
pulls Max in.
I will help and give you advantage.
Ah!
Let's see.
The 22 saving throw to escape. Crazy monk.
Okay. Yeah, that's a... so...
I got help.
That is true.
Did use the help action.
Oh wait, you were helping him, not me.
No, I was giving Hikana help.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I get grabbed
Hikana
then, and Max is immediately gonna panic.
Okay, everyone disperse.
Let go, let go, please.
Okay. I let go of Max after a bit.
Me too.
Tyrina does offer a handshake to Max.
Takes him a second to collect himself, but then he takes a hand.
Well, it's a long way to the Gerudo Desert, so I should probably get going.
Hikan, didn't you get Tyrina something for?
It was for the gala. I was borrowing it from the Temple of Etheria. I'll take it back. But I do want to show it to you at least, and I pull out the cloak and kind of just show it off a bit before putting it up against her armor, you know, okay. I guess it would look good.
It would have suited you.
She chuckles a bit. It's like, I like it. That's really sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I guess this is goodbye. For now, at least.
For now.
For now.
See you around.
Offers a bit of a wave, nods to the horse. That is Ziden, and then turns to her own horse and pulls herself up. When she's gotten settled, she offers a wave and then nudges the horse to begin a slow walk south, and he watches Tyrina Gaul exits Hyrule Castle town and returns home.
Well,
All right. One thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Hikan sheds a tear.
Aww.
Also, if the two of you grab Max, you both noticed his weirdness.
I grab
Well-
Max around the waist.
It goes that far.
Fair enough.
already knew you were weird.
We're all weird in our own way. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go to the Temple of Etheria because I gotta return something. So,
I wonder what.
Oh dear.
when does the gala start? Because I know he said to meet him an hour before it.
As far as you're aware, proper proceedings for the gala begin at somewhere in the region of 5 o'clock in the evening. So you got plenty of
And
time.
it's perfect.
Ziden will stop being a horse.
You
Are
leave
there-
us to do all the talking on purpose.
No.
I'm gonna glare at him.
Are there guards nearby?
Oh yeah, plenty.
Okay, cool. I will approach one of the guards and it's like, we forgot to do this yesterday, but my name's Hikan, and this is Max, and this is Ziden, and this is Renji, and Renji's dad's really important, but
They know.
we left a few days ago, and it was shortly after Mr. Simeon's death, and Mr. Larson Graves said that he might have more questions for us. I left him a note saying that we'd be out of town. Would you guys kindly let him know that we're back in town in case he has more questions? Please and thank you.
Sure. I think I can pass that message along.
I know he's busy, and it's really hard to get a hold of people when they're busy, but thank you.
Of course. And he props the spear he has against his shoulder briefly as he takes down a note so that he can remind himself later to pass the message on, possibly during his shift change.
Perfect. That was one thing of the two things I needed to do. Alright. And then, Hikan will start heading towards the Divine Quarter, depending on if other people want to go with him or not. That's up to the rest of the party, but he's got to return the cloak.
Max will go with him.
I'll follow.
I might as well because I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay, friends.
So, you head north through the town to head towards the Divine Quarter, and as you do, you notice that around you, the rest of the town appears to begin waking up slightly. People begin to leave their homes and open up shops and generally begin work as they do. And so the general hustle and bustle of the city begins to start. It doesn't, however, because it's still early, the the crowds are still fairly small. So as you maneuver your way up to the Divine Quarter, it doesn't take you very long to get there. And as you arrive, you see the resplendent cathedrals and churches that kind of circle around this sort of garden-like area. But it still being within Hyrule Castle Town, it's still fairly squished together almost. And as resplendent as said cathedrals are, they are fairly small by comparison. But you see various different individuals, people of faith, moving around, doing their general worship and tending to their chores early in the morning, as they kind of go about their business.
Since we're going through the Divine Quarter and we're going to the Temple of Etheria for it, do we pass the Temple of Hylia?
You do. You pass the Temple of Hylia. There's a fairly sizable sort of building there. It's probably one of the bigger ones there, but that's mainly because most people in Castletown praise Hylia simply as an extension to the monarchy. But yeah, you do see a temple to Hylia there.
Now, I have this knowledge above game, but in-game, does Hikan have enough cognizance to realize that Hylia's holy symbol is the Loftwing symbol that was on the guard's uniform in the vision?
Yes. The
Okay.
symbol of Hylia is still very much present as just the bird, as opposed to the bird with the Triforce. So it would, yeah, I'd say through context clues, at the very least, Hikan would be capable of understanding that it was Hylia's symbol on the uniforms as opposed to just a early version of the royal family's one.
Okay, cool. So he will make the quick stop at the Temple of Etheria and apologize for, the quick thing. Turns out that his friend left, and then turn back to the party after returning the cloak, and is like, so as we were walking through here, the Temple of Hylia, and he points to the symbol that's probably above the doors. Their symbol's the same one that was on the guards thing.
What?
Since we in the vision.
Right.
Since we have a bit of time to kill, do you think that it would be a good idea to see if someone in there might know about the bad dude?
Right. Yeah, we can. Yes. That's actually really good thinking, Con. Well done.
Okay. So after you return the robes, the priests there are very happy to have the robes returned. They thank you very much. Heading inside to the Hylia temple. You guys know a priest of Hylia, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. I think I discarded those aspects of notes, so I can't remember immediately what the name of the guy was. How about you guys?
I too forgot his name.
I can't names. You know I can't.
Let's see.
Oh crap! We've met more than one priest of Hylia though, because we had the cleric and other people that helped us with Minister Simeon.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we've been in here quite a few times.
Yeah, that's true. So let's just say that as you kind of enter, you see a couple of priests look up and give you a recognizing nod, as opposed to the others who kind of go about with the standard religious greeting where they just kind of draw the symbol of the bird in the air. But that's as you enter in, there are plenty of priests and acolytes who are just going about their business, and it's nice and quiet on the inside of this temple. So there's plenty of people to pull aside if you want to speak to one of them.
Um, Hello.
Hmm?
We recently went on a journey of sorts,
Okay.
and we came across some things that we weren't exactly sure about, and they were pretty obscure. That's the word, right, guys? Obscure.
I mean, it fits. Yes.
Okay. And we couldn't get much information about them, and so we were wondering if you guys could help.
Well, of course we'll be delighted to help you, my friends. Of course we have our scrolls and tomes. What exactly is it that you wish for us to aid you in?
We need information, knowledge of, pertaining to the gods.
Well, if you wish to seek that knowledge, then I'd be more than happy to help you. Is it are the gods or anything in specific in that regard? And as he says this, he's kind of very slowly leading you over to a portion of the building where there's like a nice big wooden door. And he says, if there's anything specifically, I can certainly head into our archives and find something that might be of assistance to you.
Good. Because we need information on demise.
And he does pause quite substantially when you say demise. There's I'm sure we have information on demise, but I am curious, why is it that demise specifically?
So you remember, or maybe you heard about me kind of pounding on the doors shortly after Mr. Simeon's death?
Oh, yes, I remember that day. I am truly sorry for your loss.
Renji, this death has something to do with this demise thing.
Yeah, we think it does, and we just want to make sure.
Well, yes, okay. Can certainly try. As you he's kind of having a lot of trouble with it, so I'd like whoever is leading the conversation to make a persuasion check, and people can, but you can get advantage because everybody's been chiming in, so that counts as help, I would say.
Well,
Hey, Renji.
Yes.
Yes.
I might as well.
Do that thing you do.
That's a 24.
It's a 24. Okay. So as you so he kind of spends a moment or two kind of just contemplating it, and he says,
Seriously, we wouldn't bring this up. I mean, especially in a temple of Hylia, but
yes,
it is dreadfully important.
I do apologize for my hesitation. It's not every day that we get asked about the anathema, you see. He turns and opens the door, and there's a as he pushes this heavy door that looks like it hasn't been opened very often, and it leads into a dark room lit by these torches, and he kind of gestures you to follow in, and as you do, he kind of leads you between a couple of these bookshelves before he reaches the end wall. And sitting above a kind of a bookshelf that comes up to about your waist is what looks like a tapestry almost. Now, this tapestry in and of itself seems very crude, and and very old in design. A lot older than the tapestry that you were asked to find back in the Echo of Hylia beforehand.
Okay.
It looks, but the general image of it depicts on the left-hand side there appears to be a woman who is wearing a white dress/robe with long blonde hair, and in one hand she holds a harp and the other is pointing, or is like pointing a palm towards an object held by the individual standing in front of her. And the individual standing in front of her is a young man, or there's a young man who is wearing a green tunic with a long pointed green cap and a red scarf, and he is holding what appears to be a resplendent sword in his right hand. And it looks like the woman is kind of it's kind of indicating passing a blessing onto the sword itself. And standing there on the opposite, on the left, appears to be a hulking obsidian humanoid creature with long fiery red hair, and it is also holding a sword which appears to be something similar to the sword that the young man is holding, but is basically obsidian black and kind of jagged along the blade, almost like a saw. He's just, and as you kind of come to that tapestry, the priest kneels down and pulls out a tome, like a big thick leather-bound tome, which he then places on top of the bookshelf, the shorter bookshelf, and flips through it and says, "It appears that, well, Demise was noted as the god of monsters, an individual of, well, essentially a force of chaos made manifest, as it were. The creature is known primarily to have challenged Hylia for ownership over the kingdom of Hyrule and for a sacred artifact, but was ultimately pushed back by Hylia's sacrifice and by the actions of her chosen knight."
The grind green.
That would be him, yes.
This tapestry seems made for... Can I actually see, like, the quality of it, what it was made for?
It's make a history check, actually. This would be
Alright.
This would be pertinent as a skill.
That's only a 7.
That is only a 7. At your best estimate, you believe that tapestries like this were typically the precursor to big, heavy books with long illustrations in them, simply for the fact that cloth at the time was a significantly sturdier material than parchment was. So if they wanted to have this sort of stuff and have it be passed around and to record history, it's like mobile hieroglyphs almost. But it certainly seems...
So this would be for, like, common consumption?
Essentially. They put, like, there'd only ever be one of it, but it meant that if, like, people had to leave town for whatever reason, they could take this piece of history with them in a far more transportable fashion, as opposed to having to kind of transfer a church brick by brick.
So this, I find this curious, Sir Priest. This tapestry seems to be hidden away in these archives.
a little. Is primarily because we have other forms of artwork, something that's slightly clearer, and he kind of gestures back outside, and you did on the way see, like, you had the stained glass windows, but you also had certain hanging pictures of art, as well as books now being far more readily available, as opposed to there's one copy of a book ever. And he kind of says, it would be pertinent to put this back outside, but well, not a lot of people were happy with the imagery of effectively the anathema is probably
Pure
going to be-
evil.
Yes, that would be it.
We found a symbol.
Symbol.
I would show the scrap of paper that I drawn the symbol of demise on, that I've also shown to the sage in the cave.
Oh, you mean the hand with the eye in it and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
We were
Okay.
trying to find out more about it, and well, ended up getting taken on some vision quest.
I can't say I've seen this symbol before. And the priest flicks through the book and points to a different symbol. It looks like a it looks like a very feral-looking boar with jagged tusks that's looking head-on and almost screaming at the person that's viewing it. So, from our records, that would be the symbol of demise that we have. This is different.
It's
Well, might as well lay all the cards on the table. We've been to the Firevine Forest, north of Kakariko village,
Right.
where we went to seek the aid of a Wizrobe sage. He offered us to show. He offered to show us a vision. We saw Hyrule in its infancy, being overrun by forces of evil and chaos,
undead.
undead.
Lots and lots of undead.
Ruled by what we believe to be demise. They fought under the banner bearing this symbol.
Hikan, as we're recounting the thing, is taking a look at the tapestry and asks, so, big dude with really red hair.
That's
Generally what he kind of looked like.
yes.
Well, we never saw him, did we?
There was that
No, not that.
one. There was that one big thing with the skull head and the giant sword.
Yeah,
Well,
possibly he was one of the generals or something.
Well,
Well.
this thing's got a monsters, right? If that thing's a monster, then
yes, I suppose. I do not know whether or not this would be a symbol for demise, or if it is, as you say, one of its generals. That is a harrowing thought to contemplate. And he looks over and says, Oddly, not many of our texts state that there were individual or undeath within the ranks of his armies, though we do have a few passages that mention those that are cursed, and he hands the symbol back. He says, they mention something that is, they mention that certain monsters would be moved around under individual power, sort of thing, or they all moved around by some form of magic, but sustained grievous wounds that should have killed them. But that is the capacity by which we understand it in the history books.
Can't think of anything else to ask about.
The enemy we are up against may have been there from the beginning of the world. Beginning of Hyrule, certainly. I just wonder, with us talking about it so abstractly, historically, I do feel we're up against something rather tangible.
Are you... And the priest kind of looks over, are you saying that there's something like this around today?
I mean, there are most likely other possibilities, but that is what we're moving on towards.
He kind of looks off into one direction and kind of mulls this over, but you can tell from his stance that as he kind of contemplates the situations that you're providing him, he's not doing particularly well. But he nods and says, well, I'm sorry I can't provide you with much more help in the matter, but I do wish you luck, and I am sure that Hylia smiles upon you in your endeavor to try and find and thwart this evil, whatever it may be. But I can't say that I am fully aware as to what it is that you face.
Well, at least we know a bit more now.
Thank you for the information you've provided us with. Is it okay if we return in a day or a few days' time to get some more information? Maybe peruse some of your books?
Yes. I think that might be worthwhile. I will have to talk with the High Priest about some of this, but I won't... And he kind of like analyzes each of you and says, I won't say too much, or at least I'll advise discretion if that is the goal here.
Perhaps. So far, we don't want to alarm anyone unduly. Yes, we may have. No, well, I believe you can take care of this knowledge and do with it what you must in a wise manner.
Yes, of course. I will endeavour to do my best. Yes. And he kind of just stands there. He's continuing to contemplate the implications behind the information that you've provided.
We may have given an entire temple an existential crisis.
Yes.
Oops.
Mission accomplished.
Hey. We now have the government and the clergy looking into things. We'll find something.
Just call the first half of this episode "Crisis of Faith." You've done this to the Temple of Hylian. You've lost your paladin. It's like, oh god.
Crisis of faith. Party in the back.
Okay, so do you leave this poor young man to his existential crisis?
Hikan will give a slight bow and thank you for your time. We're really sorry to disturb you and make you worry. It's just your symbol was the same as the ones that the guards had, and so figured we could find something here. I'm sorry to disturb you. And Hikan starts walking out.
It's
That was it.
not a problem, my friends. Take care. Yes. And as you head out, you head back into the sunny Divine Quarter, where the rest of the people of faith continue their work, completely oblivious to the information that you have imparted to this one person.
Okay, let's try another church. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh dear. Oh man.
I'm thinking I do need to head to the castle before the festivities begin, simply because, like, I've made a official-looking document for Tyrina, and I need to put some weight behind it.
Okay.
You should have used heavier paper.
Fair enough. But I think I can just as easily accomplish that by talking to my father.
Okay. I didn't have any other ideas of stuff to do.
Me neither.
Right. So we'll do, unless anybody has anything super pressing that needs to do before the event, we could do Renji's thing and then time skip.
Renji? You
Yes?
wanted to talk with your dad about all the stuff that happened together, right?
That too, yes.
Because I think you might have said something about it yesterday.
Yes, we haven't really briefed him on the situation, and now here we are blabbing our mouths to some acolyte we barely know.
I mean,
we were
that
getting-
aside...
We were getting more information. What's the problem?
Maybe the way we approached it, but yeah, we got more information. That is true.
Would it be a good idea to do it before the festivities? That's the word, right? Festivities?
Maybe, yes.
I already said.
Okay. So, you all make your way to Hyrule Castle. As you approach, the guards, recognizing Renji, will give a nod and an informal salute as they raise the portcullis. And walking along the path, you can see that now the decorations are effectively fully done up. like you can see a group of servants moving down the fields and the paths in order to make sure everything is cut and properly maintained for when the guests arrive. And as you pass by one of the...
Sorry, I just imagined that the Hyrulean lawnmower people are just running around with swords.
I mean, we keep cutting it, but it still grows back when we don't look at it.
I keep finding money in it, though.
It's a very cushy job. I'd love
Is
to...
that what the economy is based on?
Yes, magic grass money.
The lawns at Hyrule Castle?
Magic grass money.
You see, here's the thing. It's why druids are the most powerful class, because they have to continuously grow this grass for people to keep the economy going. So thank you,
It
Ziden.
shows that lawns are a classist structure. It's obvious!
Oh dear.
Ah, the symbolism in Legend of Zelda. Ah.
Revolution starts in the garden.
Yes.
Oh dear. So as you get up to the castle and move past one of the servants' entrances, you can see that there is a couple of individuals there who are, like, two of them have clipboards and one of them is kind of opening crates that are like all these different crates and boxes and chests that have been moved up, and they're opening them up, and you can see one person kind of checking them off a list. Nearby, one of the royal guards kind of examines the box and takes a couple things out, checks like this little trinket, and then is like, okay, and puts it back. Renji, you are aware that before any form of festivity like this, chances are, if the royals are holding a ball, then lots of people send them gifts, and they send them in quite significant supply. So while some people turn up with them in hand, a lot of dignitaries will usually send them in advance. And then, of course, for security reasons, the servants and the royal guard check them over to make sure none of them are dangerous. Like you can see occasionally you got one person who kind of picks up a lockbox and kind of shakes it, and it's like this little black and gold trim chest, and shakes it slightly, and it's like, it needs a key, and just puts down, okay, one lockbox requires key. Found the key. All right, then one key. Just kind of moves on that way. So, did you want to speak to Vermilion first, or did you want to speak to Nihilus first?
I would say Nihilus first, and then Vermilion to get ready for the party.
Okay.
Well, I say party, I mean commemorative gala.
Okay.
Are any of the guards like doing sparring practice kind of thing, since stuff hasn't really started yet? Kind of like what Sho was doing.
Yeah.
Not last. Oh, so Hikan's like, ooh, no. I'm here for other things. Here for other things.
You're on business.
Max is just looking at all the decorations thinking, why does everything look so happy?
Oh dear. But yes, as you move through the halls, coincidentally you find yourself in front of the tailor's office, and leaning against the wall is Nihilus, who looks up and nods and says, Renji and friends, welcome back to the castle.
Father?
Are you prepared for the festivities today? Or are you just, is there anything in specific that you need at all?
Well, we are going to Vermilion soon to pick up our commemorative outfits, but we did need to debrief on the events.
Oh.
I was wondering if you have time for that, or if there's other things you need to attend to at the moment.
Well, the princess is currently being fitted for an outfit right now, so I am okay to talk over certain things if you would like to. What is it exactly that you found while you were doing your thing? I know that you said that you had had a run-in with a dark nut while at Lon Lon Ranch, but I don't think I heard most details of what you had encountered while you were speaking to the hermit, I think it was.
No. As it were, I'm not entirely certain what it is that happened. Was more an illusion of some sort of, I don't know,
Battle.
virtual, I don't know, reality. More real than a dream ever felt.
I see.
We saw Hyrule as it was back in earlier, I don't know, the start of our history.
So we told him what was going on and what we were there for, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna cast this spell." And then we were like, "Okay." And then it kind of got really foggy. And then, yeah, as Renji said, it was like that. And some guards ran into us, and they had the same symbol that was on the Temple of Hylia. And then we followed them over to this fort-like thing that's kind of like your castle here. And then we sat there and talked about things. And the word that we heard was, and Hikan will lean in. Actually, Hikan will say in Sheikah, demise.
That wasn't the word. What?
It's okay. And so then we sat there, and right after we were going to ask more questions about it, we were attacked by all these undead. And then we sat there, and I got cardio workout. I ran a lot, but I beat up a lot of the skeletons. So did Renji. Renji did a really good job, Mr. Renji's dad. And then we went over to the front, and
Renji is visibly blushing.
and and then we went out to the front, and then this big guy came up, and he was just like, he had the this skull-like thing with horns and a black cloak, and pretty much what seemed to be a giant slab of black metal for a sword. And I don't remember. You remember our big Karuto friend? She decided to go back to the desert for her own reasons. But she was like, oh no, this thing's like undead and evil, and I must attack it. And it looked at her, and it said a word, and she died, but not really, because it was a vision. And then shortly after that, because we all were feeling kind of weird about it, then we woke up.
Yeah, what he said.
That is a lot of information to take in. And he kind of.
This thing was that it had a huge army, and they all had banners with the symbol.
I see.
If I have time, I want to try and make a sketch of the creature that commanded these forces.
It might be a good idea to do that. Yes.
And because I was gonna do a nice thing for my paladin friend, I went over to the Temple of Etheria to borrow a cloak, and well, she didn't end up needing it, so I had to go take it back. And we saw the symbol, as I said, on the Temple of Hylia, so we went in, and we gave the Acolyte a very, very, very brief thing to see if they could help us in regards to demise. And he says demise in Sheikah again to prevent more freakouts. And they couldn't really help us, and it turns out that it wasn't or didn't seem to be at least Demis's main symbol. So we don't know what it is, but we did try to look it up a little bit.
Right. So, demise.
Or something in league with what seems to be the personification of chaos.
Yes. That is... Well, to put it simply, according to our legends, at least legends that have been passed down, Demise was utterly destroyed. At least way back when. So little actual information exists on Demise that it is very difficult in a sense to get an idea as to what the truth is about the creature. Most of what Demise is known to be usually has to come as a side bit of information in regards to anything associated with Hylia. Knowledge of Hylia and all the myth and stories that surround her are extensive. And Demise is usually considered kind of attached to that. And judging from the description of the creature, I can say that it does not sound like the Demise that I would know. But
It didn't look much like the tapestry that they have at the Temple of Hylia.
I think it would be a good idea if you were to sketch out the creature if you have time, Renji. That would be a very good idea. But as I have said, myself and Mara have searched the Royal Library for information in regards to that symbol or anything associated with it, and we came up with nothing. Which is why I sent you towards that hermit, since they might have other ways of knowing. But that seems very... It is concerning in two ways. One, and this is the one I do not like to think about, is whether or not that creature, whatever it is, or worse, Demise, has come back in some way, or is on its way back, and this is what it does to make its mark in the world, then we have a problem. Similarly, maybe it hasn't come back, but a repository of knowledge that contains information about what this thing is and what it can do and anything that it can provide for the sake of power or control or something in regards to undeath, that exists somewhere and someone has found it and is putting it to use, which is also a problem. I think this is something that needs to be talked about with Zelish, but I don't think we're going to get an opportunity to talk to Zelish, at least not until after the event tonight.
Honestly, that may be that last thing you said, the someone having found a way to harness it rather than that creature being back. That might be the best situation to be in right now.
I think so too, but it is still dangerous. Simply because we, not necessarily Hylians, but we, the Sheikah, we value our knowledge. We value our truths. If someone knows something that we don't, that means that we don't have many ways to fight back against it. So it is scary for the moment, but...
Just say we like secrets.
Well, we do, yes. But,
I'm gonna make a history check real quick to see if Hikan remembers something that I do.
Okay.
Because Hikan wasn't paying a bunch of attention at that point, so.
Nice.
Awesome. Since Tyrina isn't here to help with this, she did say that it seemed to. I can't exactly remember because I was trying to figure out other information, and I'm not the best with remembering things. But she said it either reveled in the power of undeath, or it could make more. And she felt really strongly about it since she was a paladin of Etheria.
Makes sense. It certainly does.
So I don't know if that helps narrow it down any, because she's not here to help, but it was something.
Well, the only thing I know of in regards to things that can make more undeath is a prototypical lich, but they are incredibly rare. Not many individuals within the Kingdom of Hyrule, or even in the Sheikah, have the patience and power to go through turning themselves into a lich. But even then, from the sounds of it, it would not be any bigger than you or I. It would be average sized. Something of that size is something different. But it does give us a start.
What if it's a Hinox lich? Because that was big.
That's not something I want to imagine.
Don't think it was the right shape for that.
A
They only
dark nut lich?
only have one horn, right?
The Darknut Society
Oh, yeah.
doesn't particularly find itself fond of magic. They view it as cheating.
Hmm.
I mean, they're right.
I'm not gonna
I
argue.
mean, come on, don't talk down on Ziden or Max like that.
Oh, I'm not gonna argue.
When it comes to fighting with your fists or other things, Sho's a dirty, rotten cheater, and we all know it.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a sword. I have a
It
sword.
does. He doesn't shoot acid from his sword. He grabs a little crystal thingy, and the next thing you know, he goes pew, and it goes.
Oh, gosh. Well, I suppose when we speak to Zella, she will be able to provide us with some level of coherent plan. After all, he is Grandmaster for a reason.
Oh, that's who he is.
Yes,
That makes sense. That makes
the
sense.
leader of Sheikah here in Hyrule Castle Town. Maybe something that you should know, Hikan.
What part of I
Of
don't
the
remember
Sheikah.
things? What part of I don't remember things? Well, didn't you catch?
Well, the thing that you should know this.
So I don't need to know it, right?
You don't have to, but you will meet him, so it might be good to remember him.
Right.
It's kind of a big deal.
Okay. If you
We
say
did
so.
meet him for like 4 seconds.
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Well,
Also, our companion Tyrina has left for the desert.
I did wonder why we were at
I-
least one person short.
Yes, and we haven't seen Sho in a while either. But knowing him, he's probably off sneaking some tobacco.
Well, you say that, but I did speak to him.
He doesn't need that stuff. He smokes all the time.
I did speak to him briefly this morning. He's currently running a few errands.
Really?
Yes.
So, probably not at the gala.
No, but then this is not something that he would typically want to partake in. He is all for...
Why does he get a pass?
He gets a pass because he has other duties that he needs to take care of.
I can tell that the gala is all about to start,
Yes.
based on the trumpets.
I can't wait to find out what it is.
Yeah. So
But the reason I ask about Tyrina, I basically wrote a letter for her to show to anyone if she's ever back in Castletown, that she would be given all courtesy of the Sheikah, and I wouldn't mind it if you would tell people around to agree with that.
I will pass on the message, of course.
She has done
Yes.
rather a lot for the kingdom.
And I am aware of this.
Just I thought it wouldn't be in my own power to do such a thing, but I do think she's earned it.
Yes, of course. And I agree. She has earned it, at least from the stories that I have been told by all of you. I will pass around the word. So when she returns, she will be fully expected to have all things accommodated for her.
Good. Thank you.
Well, with that, all I need to do is wait for the princess to finish with her new outfit for the gala for this evening.
Is she with Vermilion at the moment?
Yes.
Then we might as well wait for a bit until she's done.
Okay.
Pick up her own stuff.
All right. So,
in the meantime, I'll start sketching out what I can remember from that dead sword guy.
okay. So, you begin to wait, and after a certain amount of time, you do manage to finish your sketch, and you pass it to Nihilus, who kind of commits the image to memory and thanks you for it. And just as he does that, the door pushes open, and Vermilion walks out with Sophia, who is in her kind of usual casual dress for the most part. And Vermilion says, yes, Nihilus, Princess Sophia has finished her tailoring session. She will have a dress ready for this evening. Of course, you being a guard for this young woman, I don't believe that you have any formal attire. And Nihilus says, no, I do not. I have to be with my gear at all times. But thank you for the consideration, Vermilion. Come along, princess. And Princess Sophia just kind of like the slightest grumble face on the princess as she kind of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to a fucking party.
Max looks at her in the utmost sympathy.
Solidarity with Sophia.
Yeah.
But yeah, as they walk away, Vermilion turns to the rest of you and is like, so, you have come for your outfits. Glorious.
We have indeed.
Come inside. We need to make sure that they fit. And he walks in to his thing and waits for you to enter. As you do, and he closes the door behind you, he wanders over to a rack which has these different outfits that have all been labeled. And he passes over to each of you ones that have these little labels on which say your names. And so it is that we have the appropriate outfits. Max, you have effectively been given a blazer with a shirt, like a kind of a dark gray, like a kind of a dark grayish blazer with these blue highlights, which has this kind of white tunic beneath it. You have matching trousers to go with it, and these kind of cuffed boots, which have something of a stacked heel and are and come up to about mid shin in height. Everything fits very comfortably, even though looking in a mirror you might well, depends entirely on how you view the outfit itself.
Yeah. This is looking like I look really weird today.
Yep, look.
Like
I was going to say
stepping
normal.
from
but-
side to side, trying to get used to the shoes. He's only ever had like big proper boots before.
Then we have Ziden. You have been given a kind of muted blue sort of barren coat, which kind of is a long coat that goes down to your knees, but it has a nice big high collar, and it also comes with like a white tunic, and a waistcoat, like a dark grey waistcoat that kind of goes underneath it, and it also comes with pantaloons and also this similar cuffed, stacked heeled shoes. And Vermilion also offers you a thing and says, if you find that the atmosphere at the gala is fairly fairly cold, or if you find yourself outside on an evening, then feel free to wear this. And he passes you what appears to be like a really short cloak that you can wear around your shoulders, which is of a dark grey color as well. Yeah, you taking a glance into the mirror, what does Ziden think of himself?
This will get dirty so quickly.
Oh dear.
Good thing some of us have magic that can clean things.
I'm well versed in that particular cantrip.
Does Max have that?
Yes?
Maybe that's clearly the reason he picked him up all along.
Never known druids to be ones for cleanliness.
And this
Third granddad and his cleaning grandson.
and this is my adopted
I
son. Press the digitate. I need Max.
I can clean things and fix things.
Yeah. Oh dear. But yeah, then he moves on over to Hikan. Hikan, you have been given a muted blue waistcoat with a long sleeve white tunic and a pair of dark grey pantaloons that also comes with a sort of like waist belt that has a kind of a cloth that goes from like over your rear end and down to your knees, which is also kind of a light sky blue, or a matching blue to the waistcoat. And it also comes with these boots. As you move around, you notice that there's a lot of flexibility within the cloth, so he has accommodated for your need for flexibility and movement. So how does Hikan feel about his outfit?
So, even though, like, as he's moving around normally kind of thing, like putting it on, getting all the stuff there into it, what Hikan does is he gets to a point where he can, like, where he's kind of got, like, a full body's range, like, he's not going to hit anybody. Like, when you're setting up to play the Wii, how it gives you the warning, you know, make sure that nothing's in the way. And so he does that, and then he kind of, like, does, like, a couple of, like, really quick high kicks kind of thing to make sure that, you know, like it's free range of movement there. And then I'm gonna make an acrobatics for this check just because it would be funny if I fail and cool if I don't. He tries to do a backflip.
Okay. 15. I'd say that's enough for a standing backflip.
Okay, so yeah, he's happy with it. I mean, his hair is still a freaking mess, but he's happy with it.
And if I'm remembering Renji's requests appropriately, he wanted to still be in his armor, but have a tunic that was more or less of the colors of Simeon.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So Vermilion provides you with a resplendent tunic, which admittedly for the most part doesn't look like it'll get much exposure underneath your half plate armor, but the parts that you can see, definitely there is the blue and the grays that are associated with Simeon's estate. And he says well, it won't be seen much, but I have made something to your specifications. And he provides you with the tunic. And as he does so, he also turns around and comes back to each of you with effectively these scarves, these fairly short scarves that are of the same sort of blues and greys. And on one end of the scarves, there's a symbol that has been, well, you see the heraldry of Lord Simeon. Just kind of there. It says, now, I don't know if you wish to wear these, but if you want to have something more of an obvious symbol that is associated with Lord Simeon, then please wear these. They will allow others to recognize that you are there on the behalf of our departed lord.
Thanks.
I gratefully take a scarf and the tunic.
Okay.
Yes, so he's got multiple scarves for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's good. All right, cool. Then yes, Hikan will definitely take a scarf. He'll tie it around like a sash, just like over the belt.
Yeah.
Max takes like a minute trying to figure out how to do scarf properly.
All right. Excellent.
Renji will probably help and make sure that the emblem of the symbol of House Simeon is displayed properly for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And if anybody out there is listening, yes, I have no idea how fashion works.
You're doing quite well.
It's just that in my head when I was coming up with this scene, for some bizarre, really weird reason that came up is that like the gala would start and the doors would swing open and there was just everybody, it just like would echo across the hall. Smoke machine.
I mean, I do have the fog cloud spell. I could provide a smoke machine.
Oh dear. Oh. But yes, after Vermilion has provided you with your attire, is there anything specific anybody would like to do, or shall we fast forward to the start of the gala?
I have a thing to do, but it's only at the start of the gala.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Do it, Grandpa.
Okay.
But yeah.
Also, there's one thing after we get out of earshot from Vermilion and knowing that my father is away, I do turn to the others and I say, listen, my father doesn't know that I have magic,
At all?
and I would appreciate it if he doesn't learn of that.
Alright.
So, like, working for him now, I would appreciate it if, like, whatever I do, me using magic doesn't come up. There's some things I need to do before I break that news to him?
Right.
You feel, Renji, you feel a bristling, an otherworldly bristling along your spine.
Shit.
Max has no idea how parents work, so for all he knows, this is normal behavior.
Hmm.
Okay. So, time passes. Guests begin to arrive, and you are guided to. You are guided towards one of the castle's banquet hall. In one corner of the room, there appears to be a fairly well-organized orchestra being conducted by two people. Renji, you know these as the conductor brothers. They'd be Sharp and Flat, and they're both in time with each other as they're guiding the orchestra along their way.
They better be in time with each other.
As you enter, you can see that the hall is set up it's about 50 feet long by around about 20 feet wide, so it's a fairly long hall. At one end, on a raised platform, you can see that there is a table behind which there are 5 chairs. There's 2 large ones, one of which is currently being occupied by King Alexander, who sort of in a very dignified manner, especially for a dignified manner, sits and watches the procession as people enter in. And standing behind him, very much present, is Zelish, like grasping his staff and also keeping an eye on the procession before him. And then next to him, next to the king, on his right, is the other big chair, which is left empty. And you would know this would be Queen Grace's chair if she was still in this world. Then sitting to the king's left would be 2 chairs, one of which is occupied by Marius, who is this fairly tall for a 16-year-old. With long wavy hair, which is kind of this fairly rich blonde. His outfit is done up to the nines, and he's also sitting straight back, with his head tilted back slightly, almost as if to look down his nose at everyone. And to Marius's left is Princess Sophitia, who puts in no effort hiding the fact that she clearly wants to be somewhere else. She's kind of sitting with bad posture, leaning on her left shoulder, resting a cheek on her fist, and she's just kind of looking at everybody like, "Why are you here? Why are you in my house? Why am I here? Why can't I just go?" And then sitting sadly by himself on the opposite side of the empty chair is Rufus, who kind of has a very timid posture. He kind of scrunching himself up to make himself look as small of a target as possible, and just watches.
Even without the description, I felt sorry for him.
Yeah. He kind of just watches everybody. None of them seem to make any effort to talk to each other. Even Marius, they're just kind of sitting there quietly, while a murmur of light chatter waves over the room from everybody else who is there. As you look around, you can quite clearly see that every one of the nobles are there. You can see Rickshaw, who is currently schmoozing it up with a bunch of other nobles who, let's see.
Of course
I made a note of people's passive insight. Hikan, with your passive insight, you can tell that the people he's talking to clearly have gotten tired of his conversation. Sitting at one of the tables talking to one of her assistants is Lady Risha, who is looking around the room and then occasionally stopping to talk to talk to the assistant, who is like leans down slightly to talk to her back, but she continues to look around in various different directions. You see, Renji, you see a face that you haven't seen before. It's a fairly lithe woman with short, vibrant orange hair, and she's dressed fairly practically for the most part. And she's also chatting politely with a number of the nobles themselves. And as she kind of continues on in her own fashion, she's doing a substantially better job at keeping conversation and keeping the other person entertained than Rickshaw could ever hope to. You spot one Larson Graves who is supporting the wall over in one area and is very, very cautiously eyeing everybody who is present. You see Lord Dr. Crane, who is he's this very old individual, is kind of supporting himself on his cane, hunched over, but he's talking enthusiastically to another person who is quite like, I don't know what this man is talking about, but I'll just smile and nod anyway. And it is quite the gathering, as you can tell. Oh, there is one other person that you can see, and you can pick him out because he is very much in very heavy armor. Is a tall, imposing man who has long white hair and a big, bushy beard. And Renji, you recognize this as Lord Kazun Das, who is the noble who is in charge of overseeing the faith of the Kingdom of Hyrule, and you know that he is a High Paladin of Chronica.
Kronos.
Here I was thinking he was going to be Santa.
I actually thought with you saying that he was in armor, I was thinking, oh shit, Eisenführer.
Eisenführer turns up, just towers over her. It's like, you.
You.
No,
But, yeah.
Eisenführer would be fashionably late and just like steps behind Renji, and you just feel this big metallic hand grasp your shoulder.
You'd know it'd be
That's
Eisenführer.
seeing you here.
You'd know it'd be Eisenführer because you'd hear the herald first.
That is true. That voice is it sticks with you.
He'd
But,
be kindly
yeah,
talking to Rickshaw, getting along swimmingly.
So he's a paladin of Chronica, you said?
Yes.
Okay. I do wonder who that orange-haired lady is. Have I seen her before?
Make a investigation check as kind of like a after the fact sort of thing.
Okay. That is a 10.
You are unsure as to where you might have seen her before. She looks familiar, but you can't quite place the face.
Oh, okay. I then try and insert myself into the conversation where she is.
Okay. So while you go and do that, what is everybody else doing?
Max is just looking at all the others in the group like, now what?
So the thing I'm doing before we all split off and start doing party things,
Okay.
is casting this of myself and Renji for charm.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh my.
Eagle Splendor. Target has advantage on charisma checks. Very nice. Well done.
Thank you.
For up to an hour.
Yeah.
For the next hour, probably, Renji will be extra charming,
Yes.
and Ziden will do his best not to embarrass anyone.
So since they're more scanning the crowd, has Lady Risha or Larson Graves made eye contact with the group, if not Hikan specifically?
Okay. I will roll perception for each of them. So. Okay. Okay, so Lady Risha rolled a natural 6, and Larson rolled a natural 1. So no.
Oh.
At least,
okay.
at least Larson can get his bad rolls out of the way on us.
And then I just see Renji take off, and it's like, yeah, now what? Wait, Renji, what are you doing?
And Renji is already gone, probably.
Oh dear.
Okay. Mr. Larson Graves is over there, and then there was the angry lady that was talking to Minister Simeon that just seemed too busy to pet evidence. There's Lord Asshole over there.
So we know who to avoid.
Okay, we're going to avoid him. Got it. Is there food?
There are tables set up for food, but it has not been served yet.
Ah.
We'll
No
have to
bad day.
wait to get Max some experience.
Is there refreshment?
There are servants wandering around with food, with like little hors d'oeuvres and glasses of wine.
Part of me just thinks that it'd be funny if Hikan was a wine snob on top of everything else, but no, he's not.
Ziden's going to get some wine.
Yeah, let's get something to drink and see if and see what happens. If we hear anything interesting.
You go, it's like, look at the fire, it's like, what do we do? I don't know. Alcohol. Just kidding.
Alcohol, yes. Alcohol.
Max watches as everyone else walks into the crowd, glances over at Larson, and then takes a look from his book and goes and finds a wall to prop up.
No, Max. We're going to go get a drink. Let's go get a drink first. I'm not going to leave Max alone.
Okay.
Fine.
Oh, so you drag Max over to a waiter who says, good evening. Please try the wine.
How much would Hikan know about wines, actually?
Roll a brewer's kit check with intelligence.
Okay, so since I have proficiency with that, awesome. All right, cool. Roll 1d20 plus 1. That's a 12.
Nice.
It's a modest 12.
Yeah, you know a little bit about wine. You know the process by which it is created, and you know the basics behind tastes and everything, like the difference between a red wine and a white wine and a rosé.
What's the vintage of this wine?
Now this has been saved for quite some time. It is a Green Hills Excelsior wine. It has been created at least 50 years ago, a feat that is quite important considering the war. Would you like a glass?
Yes, please, thank you.
Pass you a glass. It is a red wine, and taking a sip, has a fairly fruity taste to it, and after it goes down, it has this really interesting like spicy aftertaste. It's not like overwhelmingly spicy, but it's interesting for a wine. But then again, when it comes to wine tasting, the vast majority of it is basically making shit up as you go along. So,
general things are type of fruit, type of spice, type of wood. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was gonna say, on a scale of 1 to Goodberry, how fruity is this?
Nothing is as good as the good berries. You tried to make good berry wine, but you learnt it wasn't possible.
No, I can't let it age long enough.
Yeah.
It's just not the same.
It's kind of got this interesting sort of cherryness to it, in addition to the standard grapey sort of flavor that you'd usually get with wines. But yeah, it's pretty dang good.
So yeah, you'll actually see Hikan taking his time and sipping the wine, opposed to downing it as you've seen him down literally anything he consumes. But he does encourage Ziden and Max to partake in the wine. It's good. It's pretty good.
Ziden drinks wine.
You enjoy a nice glass of wine. And meanwhile, Renji, you have wandered over and inserted yourself in the conversation of this mysterious young woman as she talks with a couple of other dignitaries. And she.
I assume she is looking older than I am.
She looks to be in her early 20s.
Okay, so yes.
Yeah. And as they're discussing, it's like, well, yes, the job is very difficult, but I feel like it must be done. After all, there are certain things in this world that cannot be prevented, and when it comes down to it, I feel that maybe it was best if he were to take some time off. And one of the others said, yes, but you know how much of a workhorse Raphael is. It is an unfortunate factor that something must have happened, but if he needs the time, he needs the time, And she says, of course, yes. And I'm happy to work in his stead, of course.
Raphael, I'm sorry. Can I make a check to pick up on who they're talking to?
Make a general intelligence check, but it'll be a fairly easy one.
General intelligence. 19. 17
Nice.
plus 2.
17 plus 2. You know that Raphael is the first name of Lord Whitestone. who's
Right.
taken a leave of absence since the death of Marcus.
I understand. Yes. Let's see. I nod along with them, and I do say, yes, it's very it's a regrettable situation.
Indeed.
I wouldn't wish my father to experience the loss of a child.
Yes, it is. But it is even more sad that it was, in fact, his youngest son that has fallen foul of this sort of thing, says one of the dignitaries. And the young woman says, yes, I fear that Eric in Drumnik would not exactly be, his life is a bit more proactive and closer to danger, wouldn't you think? And it's like, yes, it is. But he did wish to become a town guard and wanted to work in an environment that was slightly smaller. He chose Drumnik. I suppose that is something that, at the time, I suppose Raphael was remarkably eager to see him accomplish, but since Marcus's passing, I fear that perhaps maybe he might be reconsidering such things. And Cassandra nods, or the woman who, in character, you don't know is named Cassandra.
I do not know.
Nods slowly and solemnly. And she says, well... And she raised the glass to Raphael and the family. And he's going, hear, hear.
I nod solemnly. I don't think I have a drink at the moment, but I nod.
Yeah.
If you didn't abandon your friends, you would have had a drink.
Maybe I'm 17 and don't want a drink.
Yes, they toast and they take a sip, and says, and the young woman says, now, if you excuse me, I need to go make the acquaintance of some other individuals. It is only proper in this circumstance. And they say, of course, Miss Summerborn, of course. Do take care. And they say, of course. As you were, gentlemen. And she wanders away to mingle and make small talk with other individuals.
Before she gets to another molecule of of people. I want to rack my brain if I know any Summerborns.
Okay, make me another general intelligence check.
General intelligence. That's a 10.
It's a 10. So with a 10...
Wait, it's intelligence.
Yeah.
Damn it, start doing charismatic things.
Yeah, I start doing charismatic things.
You think you know of a Summerborn or two, but for the most part, you can't think of anything significant about the family that might have come up at one point.
In that case, I want to, before she gets to like a group of people, I want to kind of move just before, in front of her, or like somewhat in her path, and excuse me, I believe we've not been properly introduced. I bow and I offer her a hand to allow me to kiss it.
Okay. She smiles and obliges, puts her hand in yours. Of course.
I kiss her hand and I say, my name is Renji Vox, heir of Nihilus Vox, at your service, my lady.
Oh, I see. It is very nice to meet you. My name is Cassandra Summerborn, Miss Cassandra Summerborn. Sadly, I am not a noble like many of the individuals here, but I am currently overseeing Lord Whitestone's work while he is taking a moment of reprieve over the loss of his son.
I understand. It's while you may not have a title of nobility, that is quite a noble act.
Well, I do admire the man's work, and truthfully, I feel that it is only fair to allow someone who has worked so hard for this kingdom to have at least a moment to collect himself, especially after such a traumatic event.
Of course. And if situations were differently, I would dare say that he could have taken all the time in the world. It is a shame that we live in such risky times.
Perhaps so. I mean, it is fortunate, at the very least, that from the looks of things, the Civil War is coming to a very swift end. Most of the fighting, if not all of the fighting, appears to still be within the western regions of Hyrule, away from the kingdom. And while it is sad that there is still conflict going on, at the very least it is pleasant to know that it is coming to an inevitable end. And of course, yes, it is trying times, but it is 1/3 of the tenets of our great kingdom in order to maintain a vigil and continue on regardless. My friend Renji, we must have courage in these times.
I've always been taught that it is wisdom we should also be looking for.
Of course. For having wisdom and courage will provide us with the worthiness for power. And of course, seeking power is to do so without wisdom or courage.
So I'm thinking Renji would have heard be wise and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But does he know of that trifecta, that wisdom, courage, power?
Wisdom, courage, power, as part of the actual aspect of the Triforce, has worked its way into the myth of as far as there are different deities that all go in different directions, every single one of them acknowledges the existence of the Golden Goddesses as being the creator deities, and that the Triforce was supposedly something they left behind. But they don't.
Right.
While most, if not all, people accept Din, Nehru, and Furore as fact, it's currently considered that the Triforce is merely just a legend, a myth. But
right.
The tenets
the Golden Land.
Yeah. They kind of accept it as something along the lines of, say, something to live by. That power, wisdom, and courage is the recipe for a balanced person. If you can get all those aspects within coordination with each other, then you'll become a balanced person. Of course, this is not helped by the separate churches of Din, Nehru, and Furore, who kind of emphasize each of those different things to the nth degree. But, you know.
Right, so I'm trying to figure out where you had the names of nobles, because I was wondering what Lord Whitestone did exactly.
Lord Whitestone is the he is effectively the minister in charge of local law enforcement and stuff. He is the one who
Hold on.
He's
a bit of a ping issue.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear people now again. Sorry, I had a bit of a ping issue.
Okay, no worries. But yeah, essentially, Lord Whitestone was in charge of the law of the land. So he would, so he was in charge of like the guard, whether or not anything would be determined as breaking the law when laws have been put into place, that sort of thing. He was basically the head judge. He is the chief justice of the Supreme Court, in effect.
Does he have anything to do with law enforcement?
Yes, especially in Hyrule Castletown, he personally oversees and directs guard placements across the city, and is basically the highest echelon that anyone can refer something to in regards to the guards and the law and all that kind of stuff.
So when I kind of figure out what she does, I glance over at Miss Cassandra, and I say, well, if you are overseeing the law and enforcement, you must be familiar with Larson Graves. And I glance over at his direction.
Oh, yes, of course. I am familiar with Mr. Graves as well as all of the chaplains that operate within the city. In fact, all of them are here tonight. And she gestures over to a pair of individuals. One of them appears to be a tall, fairly middle-aged woman who seems to kind of have something of a haggard look, but despite that, she's smiling and kind of having this jovial conversation with this other woman who is much younger than her, who is very kind of seems very tightly wound and is just kind of sitting almost stock still and seems to be regarding this other woman with a level of sort of disdain. And she says, Mistress Moonshadow and Mistress Lawton, they are, of course, here much in the same capacity as Master Graves. Unfortunately, I believe, and she's like looking around the room, Masters Grayscale Fulton and Lady Duford seem to have departed. Sadly, maybe we'll have another opportunity to talk to them at some point.
I am not too familiar with the other chaplains, but I and several of my companions, and I do glance over at where I think or thought the others were, and I say we have had dealings with Mr. Graves to assist him in some investigation.
It is very nice to know that there are some very vigil citizens out there, and it is good to be working with the law enforcement as it is. Their job is so much harder these days, and it's good to know that there are individuals out there willing to cooperate with them. I'm sure Mr. Graves actually fully appreciates everything that you do.
As long as we are able to serve the kingdom, and there's a shiver out on his back as he says that specifically.
Yeah.
But if it's in the service of the people, in the service of the law, Yes, of course.
Indeed. And as that conversation is going on, what do the rest of you do now that you've kind of indulged in wine and have avoided social graces for a brief period of time?
Does Lady Risha have a glass of wine?
She does, but she doesn't seem to be drinking it.
Oh. Damn. Well, never mind about that.
As you kind of look over to her, she's still kind of looking around the room, looking to one of the windows, then looking back to her assistant and talking to her, almost in a fairly quick succession, at least in that regard.
Is it more of like a uncomfortable type of thing, or like
And insight.
I want to say paranoia. Insight.
Yes.
All
please.
right.
8.
An 8. I have no idea.
It's hard to get a read on Lady Risha. It's hard to tell whether or not she's anticipating something or if she is just not much like Sophitia, not wanting to be here, or if she's just not one to keep her attention on one specific thing for a particularly long amount of time. It's difficult to pinpoint it.
You know who we haven't talked to about everything that's kind of going on at the moment? Who probably might have some insight to everything? Mr. Graves. Let's go say hi to Mr. Graves.
Okay, I will join Hikan.
I will join to get closer to the wall.
Okay. So you guys head over and find Larson. As he sees you approach, it's odd seeing Larson out of armor. Or they have seen him once out of armor, and that's when he had to go and investigate Flamgo's pet shop. He's kind of in a very sort of formal robe sort of thing, but it's open at the front, so it allows him to actually run. And underneath the robe, he has like these fairly sturdy-looking trousers and heavy boots. And he does appear to be carrying a mace on his belt this time, as well as a holy book that's sort of chained to the belt on the other side. And he looks over and says, hi again. I wasn't expecting to see you at the party.
Yeah.
Apparently we were invited for some reason.
I'm not sure what we're meant to be doing here, so I have some wine.
Yeah. I think Renji got excited at seeing a new person, which is fair. I mean, sometimes I'd get excited when I would see new people too, so I don't blame him. But yeah, no. Is everything going okay? I know that we kind of had to leave, and you said that you might have had more questions.
Yeah, everything seems to be going okay in that regard. We've been asking around about that symbol, seeing if anybody recognizes actually putting it down. We think we might have cornered a couple of suspects, but by the time we got to actually talk to them, they had left. A search of the actual city revealed that we have probably gone for good. We don't know where they might have gotten to. As he's kind of talking to you, he does occasionally scan over the crowd. With Ziden and Hikan, with your passive insight, you could probably tell that it looks like he's just still on the clock. So he's just like scanning the room, checking for dangers, checking for suspicious people, that sort of thing. It doesn't look like he's actually capable of relaxing. As he's sort of glancing around, he says, well, for the most part, I don't think we found anything new. So we don't really have much that we can ask questions of you guys about, to be fair, and you've been fairly forthcoming with what you know.
Have you been talking with Mr. Vox about it, out of curiosity?
We did ask him a couple of questions, and he explained a certain situation that you were all headed to another information source that might be worthwhile checking out. But he didn't have much insight into the symbol. He didn't know anything about the symbol, other than it had something to do with undeath. We've been trying to see if there would be anyone in the city that has a remote motive to kill Lord Simeon. He's, from what we saw in our own investigation of the man after the fact. I mean, he puts up a hand and says, "It's standard protocol. I'm sorry, but Lord Simeon didn't really have much in regards to loose threads, and he didn't really have any enemies to speak of. He wasn't the type of person to make enemies, if anything. So we're trying to figure out exactly why someone would want the man killed."
Hikan just turns slowly, narrowing his eyes over at the boisterous laughter of somebody self-confident looking for Lord Rickshaw.
Yeah, you cast your glance over and you hear the insufferable guffaw of Lord Rickshaw laughing at one of his own jokes, while the person he's talking to is like, can I go now, sir? What? No, we must continue talking. And just...
Okay. Well, still, you looked a little bit, what's the word? Tight? No. Taut? No. Begins with a T.
Tense?
Yes. You looked a little tense, and so it's figured that we'd come and say hi and make sure everything's okay with that.
Well, perhaps, but thank you for... And as he begins speaking, there's a ding 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 of a bell, and near the main entrance to the room, one of the servants is holding up this bell, and everybody becomes silent and turns and says, "Please take your seats. Dinner will be served soon." And with that, what we will
have
do...
seats. That's Max's first response, like, wait, we have seats? We weren't told that.
Renji!
Ziden will look at the table and see if there are like nameplates in front of each seat.
There are, but we will cover that next time. Thank you guys so much for listening in. I've been ArticulateT, and with me today I have had playing as our nervous socialites, Hikan Sio, being played by Alvarance. Renji, heir of Nihilus, being played by TheNetherlad.
Who's nervous? I'm just chatting up an old lady.
Playing Ziden Shari, I have had the Robo-Pirate.
More wine!
And playing Max, I have Keastreth.
You people are denying me my wall propping action. How dare you!
And we will see you guys next time, which, speaking of, I won't be around on our usual date of recording, which will be the 17th of June, because I will be on my adventure to Canada, and I will be back for the normal session, which should be the 1st of July. But I don't know whether or not we'll have a game then, because, you know, it's 4 weeks in the future, things might come up, but we'll try and get for there. In addition, I am sorry for folks on the live stream if things seem a bit buffer happy. I noticed that we have currently lost about 18.2% of our frames. I'm not sure what's causing that network slowdown. I'll have to play with the settings again. But in the meantime, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye!
Bye-bye!